Hi everyone. So I know this video is late and I'm sorry about that. It's just I've had so many ideas for different projects on my mind and I couldn't decide which one I wanted to do first. So I eventually decided that I would do my two Q&A videos first and then do, one of my other projects a little bit later. So I'm going to bring you my first Q&A video because I asked some of you to post any questions that you had down in the comments of my labor and delivery vlog with the quads. So I'm going to get to some of your questions in this video and some of your questions in the next video. I'm going to be looking down at my phone a lot, so excuse me for that. It's just sort of my way of going through the comments to make sure I don't miss anything. So I'm just going to be doing that. But I think I should address one question first that keeps coming up the most, because so many people are asking me, when are you going to have another baby? How are you going to have another baby? Thing is, I'm happy with 5, because I have the quads plus my little Gracie, and I love them, but they demand a lot of my attention, and if I ever decide to have another baby, now is not the time, because they're still really little and still need a lot of my attention. And plus, I decided, motherhood is great, but I decided that I wanted to try my hand at having a career. So I'm currently in training to be a baby doll midwife, and I'll bring you some of my training videos. Some of them will be sort of my assignments, and some of them will just kind of be so you can get a look into what it's like to train to be a baby doll midwife, and then you can decide for yourself if you think it's worth it. So now that that's out of the way, let me get to some of the other ones. Kathleen Hill has said, "Hello, I have a question. Which 2 babies were born first and which 2 babies were born after?" And on a similar note, she also posted a question, which 2 babies did I have in the bath and which 2 babies I had on the bed. The 2 babies that I had first were Andy and Brie Lynn, the brunettes, and then after that, my contractions sort of stopped because the doctor told me that when you're having multiple babies and after you have the first 1 or 2, if you're having triplets or quadruplets, then there's a lot more room in your uterus. So therefore, the babies are in less of a rush to get out. So I decided that I would let my body just do what came naturally. And so I decided that after I had the first 2, I would wait for the other 2 when they were ready to come out, or when Dr. Rachel decided that they should come out. So I had the first 2 babies on my bed, and actually I had the first 2 babies in the bathtub, and then I had my other 2 babies on the bed. So let's see. Excuse me for a second, I'm just looking for other questions. Can you explain baby doll pregnancy in brief? I'm going to save that for a whole other video because that's part of my training. I've recently been given an assignment because I have to make a series of videos to educate the public on certain topics related to baby doll pregnancy, because baby doll pregnancy can have some similarities and differences between a real pregnancy. So I think that's something that's important for girls and women to know about. Okay, what are the babies' names? Okay. First I had a little boy named Andrew Adam. I call him Andy for short. Then I had a little girl, Breelyn Bell. And then the next night I had a little girl that I named Charity Claire. And then I had a baby boy that I named Daniel. So that answers that question. Gina Berry says, "Wow, this is absolutely amazing. How did you end up having 2 of your beautiful babies on your bed? Did you plan that, or was it unplanned? Like you went down for a rest and then all of a sudden you were pushing. Such an amazing video, though." Okay, first of all, thank you very much, Gina. I'm so glad you enjoyed that. And second of all, it was sort of unplanned, because I still plan to give birth to, I still plan to have Charity and Daniel in the bath, but things were moving a lot more quickly than I had expected. Um, and I didn't have enough time to fill up the bath or get in the bath because the contractions were just coming on way too strong and way too frequently to the point where I couldn't even get out of bed. So I decided that I would just find the most comfortable position, and in this case, it was on my knees. And I just kind of did what my body told me to do. All right, let's see. Some of these are ideas. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, some people also seem surprised that I had quadruplets, and some people were like, did you have quadruplets? So yes, I did have quadruplets, and some people may be wondering, because at first, when I first found out I was pregnant, I said I was having twins, and I ended up having quadruplets. Because see, in case you didn't see my video, which I don't blame you, if you didn't see my video about when I said I had some unexpected news, kind of toward the end of my second trimester, I was having some contractions, and I was kind of getting worried that that the babies would come too soon, and that they would be too little to play with Grace, and that they would break easily. So I ended up making an appointment with the doctor, and she told me that she actually told me that when she was doing the first ultrasounds, she missed the two other babies because they were kind of growing more towards the back. So turns out I was actually having two sets of twins, which is quadruplets. So I found out toward the end of my second trimester, and thankfully that allowed me a little more time to prepare, because I've heard some women didn't know that they were having multiples until they actually went to deliver their babies. So I was fortunate enough to find out in advance. Dang it. Okay, let's see. Are there any other questions? Because I know some people are kind of wondering why I wasn't screaming or freaking out like I was in my last one. That's because this time I had a lot more time to prepare, because the first time I got a little overconfident and I thought that I'd done enough research. I thought that I knew everything, but when I actually went to have Grace, it all of a sudden hit me, this is real, this is really happening, and I kind of started freaking out. One, because I was excited, and two, because I was shocked and surprised, and so I started screaming like a maniac. No shame to any women who actually do, because, do what you have to do, but I just felt a lot calmer and more in control the second time around when I did more research, and I feel like my labor this time around was a lot easier to handle, because instead of resorting to screaming, I did a lot more of the vocalizing and the breathing. So, and I remember someone also asked, was there more pressure because it was more babies? Yeah, I will admit that, although it was definitely easier, it was no walk in the park. I feel like there was definitely a lot more pressure this time around because I was having more babies, but the water did kind of help, and I also felt like I was able to I felt a lot more in control of my body, and I just kind of let myself do what came naturally. So, and kind of a follow-up that I remember was what was going through your head when you were having your babies. And I said a lot of things were going through my head. So one part of me was thinking, this is it. This is the moment. I'm finally going to meet my babies. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what they look like. I can't wait to hold them. It's been over a week, but it feels like I've been waiting centuries. but another part of me was like, ooh, these contractions are coming on really strong. This is really starting to hurt. It's really kicking into gear. You know, the first time around, I described my pain as being sort of like menstrual cramps, but more intense. This time, it was more like a really, really, really bad stomach bug. Like the stomach cramps you get after you ate something that was very disagreeable, but much worse. And then as I started pushing, I kind of started to think, I'm getting really tired. How much longer do I have to keep pushing? When is this going to end? But, you know, whenever I started to get tired, or anytime I started to get even an ounce of doubt, I just kept thinking, think of your babies, their eyes, their fingers, their toes. Think about the moment that you finally get to hold them. So, yeah, I would say that's about all the questions that I got for my first one. So, yeah, if anyone has any more questions, feel free to ask, and I'll get around to that. And if you want, I can even make a full-fledged video about my birth story. But until then, I'll catch you guys later. Hey guys, I'm back. As a special little bonus. Okay, I call it a bonus, but really I just forgot about these questions. Kira Beldin, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing your name, asked, why didn't you go to the hospital? And I explained in my first labor and delivery video, albeit briefly, when I was having Grace, that there are no doctors or midwives that deliver baby dolls in my area. So, I mean, there were some who were doing it remotely, but I just felt that doing it over a camera or through a computer just wouldn't be the same as having someone in person. So I just thought that I'd be most comfortable having a baby in my own home. So I set up a nice comfy spot in one of the rooms in my house and just kind of let my body do what comes naturally. And it was actually quite a remarkable experience, you know, it just being me and my babies, being able to catch them when they came out, being the first one to touch them. You know, honestly, it was just an experience that I felt was best left between me and my baby dolls, because, you know, just being able to share in this wonderful experience with no one but us, it was very private, very emotional. So, yeah, and the fact that there are no doctors or midwives in my area is sort of what inspired me to want to start my baby doll midwife training, because I know that there are probably some women out there who want to have a baby doll but don't want to do it alone. So that's where I'm going to come in. So hopefully I can be one of the first. All right, and that same person asks, no blood and cord, because that's one of the ways that having a baby doll is different than having a human baby, is because baby dolls don't rely on an umbilical cord, and at least with the type that I was having, if they're submerged in any sort of fluid, then it can, it can make their bodies like really hard and firm, and it's bad on the cotton and the fabric. So that's kind of why a lot of baby dolls are actually born clean and dry. And because they're dolls, they don't really make a sound. So that's one of the ways that a doll birth is different than a human baby birth, is although it can still hurt, it's a lot more clean and the babies don't cry. So that's all I've got for you for real this time. If you have any other questions about my labor and delivery with Grace or with my quadruplets, then feel free to ask me in the comment section and I'll try to respond to as many as I can. So, bye!